Okay, great. All right, well, it's 2 o'clock, so I just want to say hello to everyone as we're letting people in. If I haven't met you before, my name is Laura Coyle, and just welcome here to one of my free webinars. Hi, Kara, good to see you. Marion is here. Hello. So we're going to be talking about Adobe Express today, which I really have been using this for a few years now, but it's getting better all the time. And I'm really excited to share with you some of the new features and just give you, reasons to, to use it. It's great for Creative Cloud subscribers. So I think that's most of my audience are Illustrator users, artists and designers. And so this is a tool that everybody can get a lot out of. And I always sort of call this Adobe's answer to Canva. So I'm kind of interested to know if anybody here uses Canva, because it's a similar tool, but it's probably a lot more widely used and well known. So if you're coming in, and especially if you're a Canva user, go ahead and type in the chat box and let me know. Do you use Canva? Do you know about Canva? Also, do you use Adobe Express already? It would be interesting to hear from everybody. Lizzie Clark. Oh, hi from Alexandria, Virginia. I love your work, Lizzie. It's really nice to see you here. Thanks for being here. Elizabeth says, I know of Canva, but have never used it. Okay. So it's basically a templatized graphic design tool, which allows people who don't have graphic software like Illustrator and InDesign and Photoshop to do, kind of a lot of creation of web graphics or graphics for your newsletter or for social media. So it's a lot that you can do with a tool like that. And Canva is probably the most well-known one, but Adobe Express is making great strides in that direction. And for those of us who are Creative Cloud subscribers, it offers a lot of integration. So that's really great. John is here. Hi, John. You've never used template-based design software, and you're a designer. So yeah, it's another thing. It's like, why would any of us who are designers use this? But I've been getting a lot of great use out of it. So I can show you some of those things. Ellen's here from Arizona. Cool. All right. Okay, guys. Well, without further ado, I think I'm going to go ahead and just get us started. Thank you all for being here today. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by sharing my screen and move this stuff out of the way so I can see the screen here. All right. So what I'm looking at right here is basically the home page of Adobe Express. And this tool used to be called Spark. So if you've heard of Adobe Spark before, Spark Page, Spark Post, this is kind of the new iteration of it. So if I refer to it as Spark, that's just purely out of an old habit. But if you are a Creative Cloud subscriber, you have access to the premium version of this. And that just means that there's a few, stock photos and things like that that are premium, and that's included with your Creative Cloud subscription. But for anybody, even if you're not a Creative Cloud subscriber, you can get this tool for free. But for those of us who are Creative Cloud subscribers, to get here, you would just go to the desktop version of Creative Cloud. And over in the left-hand side here, Adobe Express is right there. And then you can see, if we go right here, there is a launch button. So this is going to launch in a browser. And what I'm going to be showing you today, I'm going to be doing this in Chrome. I'm on a Mac. I use Safari for a lot of things, but Safari sometimes is just a little slow with web-based tools like this. So I have had more success using Chrome as the browser for this. But if you click on launch, it's going to launch it in your default browser. This is also a mobile app that you can get on your phone, and I recommend doing that too. It's easier to work with, from a design standpoint here on, a browser on your computer, but there are some functions like the scheduling of social posts that you may need to have the phone app for. So just, you can always go ahead and download that by, let's see, does it have it? It says send link, but the best way to find this here, well, right here's a QR code right at the top of this page, so you can flash that and get the app. But also, if we go over to all apps right here, Adobe breaks these down into categories. So if we go to web, we can see there's Adobe Express. If we go to mobile, there's the mobile version of Adobe Express, and you can send yourself a link to get the app and download it on your phone. John said, tried Express earlier today on Firefox to see what the fuss is about based on a client ID project. Results of the auto generate seemed very generic. Yes, so I can totally empathize with that. It's some generic stuff, but when you have access to your CC libraries, then you can really juice it up with all of your own assets. So that's one of the things I love about it. All right, so let me go ahead and get my notes out here so I make sure I can take you through everything that I want to show you about this. Let's go. Here we are in the browser view. And I'm just going to go down this left-hand side here and kind of just give you an overview of some of the more important things here. So first of all, when you want to create something, you just click on this big plus icon, and you're just going to choose by the format size that you want. So let's say we want to create an Instagram post. Then it gives us a square 1080 by 1080 and all of these templates, which you can use the search bar here. You can also pop this out and scroll through here just to maybe just start from one of these templates. Now I'm just going to click on this one as sort of an example here. And from here, I can add, text, I can add images, and there's all kinds of, assets here that I can use inside here to create a post. So that's just sort of the basic overview of creating a post. But now let me go back to the home screen here. I'll go ahead and save this. I hope these aren't going to spin too long because we're streaming and working on the web right now. Next down here is projects. So let me just show you this screen. This is kind of where you can see all of the work that you've already done. So here is that project that I just created. And then here are some of my more recent ones. And we can scroll down here, and I just create all kinds of things here. So right here, I have a graphic that I used on my website. Over here is a post that I just did this week on my Instagram feed. And then I have all of these folders here where I store my previous graphics. So that is really helpful to just sort of keep everything organized. I started using this tool, and I'm going to click on YouTube here, to create YouTube thumbnails for my YouTube channel. And the thing I just love about this is that it's, it's not reinventing the wheel every time. So I'll just pop up one of these thumbnails here. I started out by creating, the size that I wanted. And now whenever I want to create another one, let me just zoom out a bit. All I do is I make a duplicate of this post, and then, I upload, and there's a very drag and drop way of doing this, a photo that I have, and I come in here, click on the type, and go over, whatever you have selected, you're going to see in kind of a properties panel on the right-hand side here, all the options. And so, I just change the text, and it does these nice, this is one of the text styles that you can do that just sort of does an automatic lockup for you. It's not perfect, but it gets the job done really pretty quickly. And then you have all these other options here. And all of these design tools here are really, I think, they're designed to be used by anybody. You don't have to be a Creative Cloud user. So a lot of this is really self-explanatory. It's basic, but pretty easy to find all the options that you need here. And so this just enables me to just constantly, create something without having to open up Illustrator or InDesign. And I kind of like that for a lot of quick things that I'm doing. I'd rather not have it all sort of mixed in with my other work. So I like that about it. And then once I have this created, most of the time I just click on the download button, and then there are these different formats that I can choose from here, and then I can go and upload it pretty easily to YouTube. All right, so let's go back to home, and we'll go back to this left-hand side here. So we've looked at creating, we've looked at sort of the project view of everything, the work that you accumulate. I'm going to skip over brands. I'm going to just go to libraries, because you can apply your brand through a Creative Cloud library. And that's the way I really like to work. So let me just click on this to show you that here I have access to all of my Creative Cloud libraries. So there's a lot of assets here that I can use. And if I want to, I can work back and forth between Illustrator and Adobe Express, kind of all in the same session, which is really cool. Now, one thing I will say is that libraries, when you first create one, whether you're going to create it inside of Illustrator or you're going to create it here, it takes a minute to, I would say more than a minute. It takes maybe, like the last time I did this, it took like 10 minutes for it to kind of sync up. And I think that just depends on, how Adobe's doing at the time, how your internet connection is doing at the time. So if you're kind of following along with me, you might want to just experiment with a library that you've already created, because that process goes a little bit faster. So these are where all your libraries are. And then finally, the last one I'm going to kind of overview here for you is post scheduling. Now, this is a new feature. So libraries, I think, came about maybe at the end of last year. Post scheduling came about like a couple months ago or a month ago. So it's really new. And so you can schedule posts to Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So I have posts here. I've been playing around with this. These ones that have green on them are already posted. Like here's the one that I posted yesterday to kind of market this session. And then here are some that I have that that are scheduled to post later today. And so in here, you can set up your different channels that you're working from. You can add media from Express or from your computer. And then you've got, the place where you can write the captions here and schedule it and all of that. So those are kind of the main areas that we're going to talk about in this session. So let's go ahead and let me just click out of here. And just know that, like, when you want to schedule posts, you're going to start, first of all, if you haven't done this yet, by clicking on the gear icon and making all of your connecting Adobe Express to your accounts. And because this is such a new feature, it's not, it actually does quite a bit, but it might not be as robust as some other places that you schedule posts. Like I use Later. But I'm finding a lot of value here. So, and I think because this is Creative Cloud and they're tweaking and updating things, it's going to get better and better. But just one note, if you're an Instagram user and you want to schedule Instagram posts, the best way is to have a business account. That will actually give you the ability to do an automatic, you schedule it and then you set it and forget it, and it goes out automatically. That's available for business accounts, but if you have a creator account or a personal account, then you will need that mobile app that I talked about earlier, because you will be posting via a notification that comes up on your phone, which I've done a lot too with Later, and that works just fine. And it works fine here too. So, step one is to go through the steps of getting these accounts set up. And for Instagram, a business account is going to give you the most flexibility here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'll go back to the home here. And I'm going to start by showing you, we'll pick back up with creating a post. But before I do that, there's one more thing on this home screen that I want to point out here, and it's this: try a quick action. So these are also evolving and changing, and they're fairly new. But like we have image quick actions, like resizing images, removing backgrounds, converting to JPEG. These are all sort of like quick little Photoshop things that you can do without having to open up Photoshop. There's also PDF here, so you could drag and drop multiple files or images and combine them using this button right here into a PDF. So there's some quick things that you can do, functionality coming from Photoshop and from Acrobat here. So for example, if I go, this popular one here is remove background. Let me go ahead and click on that just so you can see how to use one of these quick actions. Let me go and I've got a file over here. So I'm bringing over, this is a screenshot, and you can see it's got a pretty simple background. So this is going to be easy for Express to do, but I mean, boom, that was super quick. So, and I've seen a lot of photos that I've done this with, it does a pretty great job in just that amount of time. So it's really great. All right, so I'm going to just click customize on here. I could click download and it would go into my downloads folder. But you know, without even using Express, that's a super quick thing that you can do. And then, you know, you could use this and start making a post out of it. You could come over to, let me go ahead and just click off of here. You could come over to resize on this right-hand bar here, and then choose that format to change it into a different format. So if you're going to make it into an Instagram story, you know, if I had a lot of type in there and everything, it would just sort of do its best to kind of reconfigure it for that particular usage. So check out all of those. There's just so much you can do with this tool. Okay, let me go back and find that thing that I had made before, the Arizona, because this is a good example. All right, so this has a background photo, and when you click on one element of the design, it gives you options for that here on the right-hand side. So I could click replace if I wanted to replace this. And here on the left-hand side, it opens up this drawer of all stock photos from Adobe Stock that I can use. And you'll see there's a lot of premium, you know, the little crown means premium. And these are available to you if you are a single app subscriber or a multi-app subscriber in Creative Cloud. If you're using the free plan and you're not a Creative Cloud subscriber, then you can use, there's a lot of photos that are free in here as well. I'm not going to click on any of these because I don't want to spin and have us wait for it. But instead, let me go to my libraries and let's go to all the libraries here. And let's see, I'm going to choose this one I have called Bridgerton. And I'm going to click on a background. And I created this a while ago. It's vector. And that means that, you know, whatever size it comes in at, however I scale it here, it's going to look great. It's not editable as a vector here inside of Express. But it's totally resizable and it will always be perfect in terms of the resolution. So you can use this as a background, and there are, you know, it's super intuitive here. Like this little stacking order here, you just take that background and you drag it down, and it goes down in the stacking order. If I click on this background here where the photograph is, I can just choose a solid color and just eliminate that photo. So let's say I want to make that pink. So I've added the background a solid color instead of the photo. Then I can come here and I can make sort of photo style edits to this pattern that I just put in here. So that means I can, like, you know, just dial the opacity down, or I can choose a multiply or a screen. blending mode like this. I'll put it back at normal. And so play with all of this stuff. I mean, here are fun filters and effects, so you can change the color of things. So it just really enables you to do a lot of kind of fun, creative stuff here. And then these are just, you know, toggle switches, so you can turn this off and on and just play around with it. So I've got a background here. Another thing that I wanted to show you is that, you know, when you click on the type, for example, here's where you could change it. I'm just going to leave it as Arizona. Here are Adobe fonts right here. So you can choose a totally different font here. That's kind of cool. And then another thing that I want to encourage you to do is just use the keyboard shortcuts that you are used to using already. So like for this, let's say I want let me change this color really quick. So you can just go here and change the color. I'll select both of these. So I'm going to hold Shift and select both, just like I would in Illustrator, and then Command or Control G to group them. So grouping, it works here, and keyboard shortcuts for that works here. So you can see those right here, like here in this little menu is kind of the command. So you can see that there is a shortcut for grouping and ungrouping. We can duplicate, and there's a little shortcut for that, Command or Control D, which is not the same in Illustrator, but close enough. Layer order, so you can change the stacking order by clicking on this button here, and you've got these little icons that pretty much spell it out how you're going to do that. And then you can delete things by tapping on this trash icon, or you can just tap delete on your keyboard. So just experiment with those, the things that you would normally do. Like here, let's say I want to edit one part of this group. I don't have to ungroup it. I can do what I would do in Illustrator, which is double clicking on it to get into kind of like isolation mode, and just click on the part that I want to change here, and then go and change its color. So that's a little tip on that. And then let's go ahead and add some library assets here. So if I go into my libraries, I have a branding library here, and this has, you know, my logos and things. And so right down here is where all the assets are. There's a view all button because you're not going to see all of them at first, but I can click here to add my photo. I can come over to, let's see, click away from that, click on this, crop and shape, and put it in a circle, and maybe go back to my libraries here, get one of my little tag logos. I use these all the time, you know, posting on Instagram to just kind of make sure that my logo, you know, people can always tell that if this art doesn't have my picture or anything else in it, you'll at least know that I created it if it's somewhere else outside of Instagram. And while I'm showing you this, that reminds me, I've got a link here. I'm going to put this in, let's see, I'm going to put this in the chat box. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So I wrote a blog post pretty recently on Shannon McNabb's Sketch Design Repeat blog. So I'm just posting that there. This article, let me open this really quick just so I can drag it in here and show you, is an article that I did on creating a brand library. So if you haven't already done this, I have put a ton of tips in here for you. So creating it inside of Illustrator or Photoshop, kind of suggestions about some of the things you might want to include, and, you know, tips about including them in such a way that they will work for you, whether you're working in Fresco or Express or Illustrator or Photoshop, and that sort of thing. So check out this article. Oh, thank you, Lizzie. So yeah, there's a lot of information in there, and that this brand library that I have here, I kind of refurbished and recreated my library while I was working on that that post here, but it's just so nice to have these little things. Like a lot of the times I want to put a little YouTube logo in there because I want people to know that, if they click on this image, wherever it may be, that it will take them to the link for the YouTube video that I'm posting there. So having your brand library here makes short work of branding your social media posts here. And just because you have access to it here is so wonderful. Like, for example, if I go over to Illustrator, and let's see, I'll go right here. So I have, some designs that I'm creating and putting into a library to use back and forth with my with the social posts that I'm making here. And here they all are in this library. And I mean, it's really as simple as, like, for example, just taking this artwork right here, going down to the plus sign at the bottom of the libraries panel. And this is a library that's already existing, but you can always, create a brand new one. Go to this little arrow, and I'm going to choose graphic. So there it is, artwork 17. Let's see if that is appearing over here in the library. So I need to go back to my Express library. Sometimes it takes a minute, but there it is. I mean, that was super quick. And you just click on it and it gets placed there. And then you can scale it up. And, it's crystal clear. Doesn't really go with this artwork right here, but why not? I'll just stick that in there. And then, you can see I'm clicking on this and I'm not able to get the photograph. And so that's kind of some of the stuff that you have to negotiate when you're working in here. So you might have to take this and drag it down here like that. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything else that I wanted to show you about just the creation part? We talked about shortcuts. We talked about libraries, even just quickly putting your photo in a shape like that, and moving between Illustrator and Express. So the nice thing is, if I wanted to recolor this art in Illustrator, then I just drag it into the library, or click that plus icon that I showed you, and pretty soon it will appear in there, and then I can put it in my post. So this is how super powerful, this is for those of us who are Illustrator users. And you can create your own templates. So let me show you one more thing. Like, I'm going to make a template out of this, but I just need to add one more element here. This is not a great design. I know, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly, but like here, go down this list here and sort of play with everything that's available here. Simple shapes. This is like if I need to put, a square in here that's going to be the background for type, then I would just go to basic shapes and just click on a rectangle, move this into place, give it another color. I'll just make it white, whatever that color is, and, stretch it out to the size that I want, drag it where I want it in the stacking order. And, maybe this is the template that I'm going to be using. So once you have a design like this, you can go over to libraries, and at the top we have templates here. So you can save Express templates here in your library and then use them in your designs later. So let me go ahead and click on this plus icon here and choose this project, and then give it a name. I'm gonna call it Arizona. Of course, if I was working with a team, I might want to put more notes and things like that in there. And and I'm just going to click save. And with CC libraries, you can share these libraries with your team members or anybody else you're working with. And then they can use these templates too. So that's great. It says that it was saved to my Express library. So if I go into view all, it will show me that new template saved there. All right, let me see. Does anybody have any questions so far? Because the next thing I'm going to talk about, or we'll get close to that, I'm going to talk about the scheduling part. Elizabeth says, is there a recommended size or resolution for photos to add to an asset library? That's a good question. I mean, it really depends on your posts and what size they're going to be. So I don't know that I had like, I mean, one of the things that I do a lot is I make things, 1,500 pixels or 1,000 pixels. I kind of have these things, these sizes sort of set, because if I'm thinking of doing something for my newsletter, for example, I think the maximum size image that I save for that purpose is, like 900 pixels wide. And that's because email, you really don't want to overload email, and you'll even get these warnings. I'm working in MailChimp. It's telling me it's, too big. Do you want to size it down? So I kind of have in mind, on my website, I kind of save everything as 1,500 pixels wide, and then I can size it down from there. And then, once like, let's say this is an Instagram post, the Instagram post size is 1080 by 1080. So even that, like I don't love doing all my Instagram posts at 1080 by 1080 because sometimes they just don't look super crisp. So a lot of times, rather than just using the plain old format here that's I was going to say Spark, that Express gives you, I'll come in and start a custom size, and I will do it double. I'll do it 2160 by 2160. And that way I know, when I download it and put it on Instagram, it will size down and it'll look more crisp. So once you kind of understand what those sizes are that you're working from, then you can take your photos and say, okay, well, I don't need this photo to be, 2,500 pixels or 5,000 pixels, whatever it was I got from my photographer. You can just size it down to know that it's going to be inside some of those other formats that you're creating for. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And just one more thing about that. When you're worried about, the size of things and whether it's going to slow down a website or whatever, or an email newsletter, just download some of these and find out, how big they are. PNG is going to be bigger. It's going to look better for graphics. But a JPEG is going to be a nice smaller size. So I would just say, just start clicking on these things, downloading them, and see what, what looks good to you, what looks good on your phone, and what, what's a good size. It's not going to weigh down your newsletter or your website or whatever. Yeah. So I don't even know what size this was when I uploaded, but it's probably, 1,500 pixels wide or something like that. Something that's going to work when it's small. All right. So let's see. Next up that I want to show you about is scheduling. Let me look at my notes here and see. Okay. All right. So let's say we're going to schedule this post. So, very often I download this stuff, put it into my folder system, and use it wherever I need to use it. But if you want to schedule a post, you can click on this little schedule icon here, and it opens up another window, and it's putting it here. And then I can choose, every channel that I want to post it to. I don't recommend doing that just because, Twitter is pretty limiting in the caption that you can add. So I'll just create an Instagram post here and then type in my caption. Okay, la-di-da. And put some emojis in there. And then I can preview it by clicking right here. And now it's going to show me what it's going to look like in my feed. You can make a carousel post here, so you can add multiple images for Instagram. So I can just click on Add Media. Gives me this window where I can drag and drop from my system, or I can click on Adobe Express and add other images. So here's the post that I posted yesterday to my feed. Hopefully that's not going to take too long. So this is 328K. It's not a really huge file. Upload. And it's going to take a second. And now that's part of the post. So when I preview this, I can see there's that little icon that lets me just page through here. And so I can preview my post. Marcy asked, can you schedule reels? No, you can't schedule reels, or I'm not even sure about stories. Let's see. I think I wrote, yeah, reels, like you can't even schedule reels in Canva. And you definitely can't do it here in Express. And maybe that's something that's going to be added at some point. But no, you can't. And I don't even know really about animated stories. You can do animation. You can animate text and things like that inside of your story. So, and it comes out as an MP4. So maybe you can do animated stuff here, but not a reel. And maybe they'll add that in the future. Another thing is that you can, right here under Instagram options, you can choose to publish this via the mobile app. So that means that you will get, and you'll see this right here, you'll get a notification on your phone that says it's time to post it. It's inside of your Express app, and then you press something, sends it to Instagram. If you've ever done that before, it's like in your camera roll, and it copies the caption that you wrote to your clipboard. You just cut and paste it. So you can do that via notification. If you're using this right now and you see this right here without checking this publish button, this means that the account that you have hooked up is either a creator account or a, what's the other one? A personal account. It's not a business account. So if you have a creator account or a personal account, whether or not you click this checkbox, you're going to have to post it via notification on your phone. The only way to auto post directly from Express is to have a business account hooked up. And if you have a question, oh, Marcy says, I don't think later we'll schedule reels. Yeah, you know, I think they might start doing that, but I'm not sure. Oh, let's see. Elizabeth says no analytics like later. So at this point, no, there's not an analytics feature, and I don't know if they'll add that in the future. It may happen. This post scheduling came out like a month or two ago, so you never know, it might happen. But no analytics. And then Marcy was saying, yeah, later. I don't think later we'll schedule reels. I almost think that they are starting to do that. Like I have an old account that I paid for like a yearly subscription, and I have to update to their new pricing in order to schedule reels or do TikTok or any of that kind of stuff. So, you know, you're definitely going to get more functionality out of a tool like Later or Hootsuite, that kind of thing, than we have right here. But if you have this business account, you can come in here, type all your hashtags, and it will be posted as a first comment. So that's actually a really good, you know, feature for such a new feature, new scheduling here inside of Express. So you can do your first comment for Instagram here. And then over on the right-hand side here, publish date, you can, you know, that's all self-explanatory. But if you want, you can click on the X here and not choose a date, and then save this as an unscheduled post. So for now, let's just save this as an unscheduled post. And it appears in this left-hand column here. So I have these two unscheduled posts, and I can just drag them, you know, anywhere. So I want to maybe schedule it for Thursday. There it is right there. I can click on it to come back in and edit it. There's in the more button down here, I can duplicate this post, and then I can say, yeah, I'm going to do this one for Twitter, and uncheck Instagram, check Twitter, write my super short Twitter caption, click preview. There's the Twitter preview, and let's unschedule that too. So I'll just do that. And there it is. So, so it's kind of flexible. Let's see. Elizabeth says it would be great to cut out both Canva and later. Yeah. I mean, if you're a subscriber to CC, I would say you might not need to use Canva anymore. I mean, I know Canva has some pretty cool stuff, but I think this replaces Canva. Now, whether or not it replaces later, I'm not convinced yet, but it would be cool because I feel like I'm just getting so many subscriptions. Do you ever feel that way? It's like a lot. John says social champ for scheduling and more robust than Hootsuite. Oh, that's really cool to know because I always thought of Hootsuite as kind of being the most robust, but I don't know about social champ. So that's really cool. All right. So let me check my notes here. I think I got you all the information that I wanted to share about that. Let's see. We talked about carousels. We talked about captions and first comments. And kind of starting out as an unscheduled post. And then, of course, you can click on any post that you have here, come in and make your edits, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's pretty much everything. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything that I can sort of dive deeper on here and show you about creating these posts? I think at some point, the scheduling, there will be new things that you can add there. Let me just open this post up. Like this came from a template post, and I added my logo there. I kind of rearranged some of the flowers. I changed the background. I mean, this background right here, I don't know if I can find it, is like a texture. So if I move this away, I started out with a color here. I went into design assets. I typed in here texture. I might have typed in watercolor. I'm not sure. And there's a bunch of texture. You can add it in, put a blending mode with it, and on and on. So it's pretty fun what you can do here. Some of the things that I think are can be kind of, once you get a ton of stuff stacked up, you have to sort of figure out where to click. Another thing that sometimes happens is like every time I use this button here to change the size of it, actually it's working pretty well. This must be because before I was using the Safari browser, and every time it would give me like two sizes and it would look really ridiculous. But these actually, this kind of shows you that it works, at least to me, works a lot better here in Chrome. And I think John said he was using Firefox. So anyway, and then, these were flowers that were already in that template, but this is another one that, I just grabbed this from royalty-free, site. I can't remember where, Raw Pixel or something like that, and just remove the background using that background remover feature that I showed you. And it shows up over here, the background remover right there. There's the feature inside here of the window where you create. Oh, great. Lizzie, I'm so excited that you're excited about it too. I am too. Good, Elizabeth. I'm glad. Yeah. Looking forward to trying this out. Marion says, thanks. So much easier all within CC, which I'm in all day long. That's the thing. And, it's just amazing that you can just go back and forth between Illustrator and Express, make your little tweaks to those elements that you have saved in your library, and then just stick them in your post. It's really great. Are there template sizes for stories? Yes. So if we go over here, wait to home, or you click on the big plus sign. I mean, these are all of the different, sort of template sizes that you can start from. One other thing that I thought, now that I see that we're talking about this, that can be helpful here. Let me go back. I just go back to this window that I was working in before. You can remix something. So, you can start from an Instagram story template, or you can go into resize right here, click on Instagram story, and it resets it for you. Then you can come back in here and rearrange things as needed. Another thing that you can do is copy and paste. So if I was working on this project and I thought, I really like the way this type works here, I can copy it, Command or Control C, and then I can go back to my projects, open up this project here that I was working on earlier, and paste it. And it puts it in the right spot. It leaves all the formatting exactly as it was. So copying and pasting between projects is really helpful. Oh, let's see. Try again. I hope it saves it. All right. Well, great, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm glad to hear that everybody's really excited about it too. Also, before I jump away, let me just show you really quick. I just, by way of just a tiny bit of marketing of what I do, since many of you or some of you may be new email subscribers to my email list, I send out a newsletter pretty much every other week, and it has Illustrator tips in it. So hopefully if you've just joined my email list, you'll just see Illustrator tips coming your way about every other week. I also have a YouTube channel right here. So it's Laura Coyle on YouTube. This is my Instagram and my LinkedIn, Laura Coyle Creative. That's how you can get me there. And then here's my address if you ever want to send me an email, ask me a question, and all that. And then I have courses on my website, which is lauracoylecreative.com. And my biggest course that I'm most excited about that came out this year is The Heart of Illustrator. And here is the page on my website. This is a big, comprehensive Illustrator course that's really good for beginners and also anybody who kind of needs to plug holes in their Illustrator knowledge. Maybe you've, done a few short courses, or you've been away from Illustrator and you need to come back to it, or you've just been kind of piecing together YouTube tutorials. This course really kind of brings it all together. And one of the things I like to say is it's a world where Illustrator finally makes sense. So please check that out on lauracoylecreative.com. And I'm going to be sending out a coupon for that course. So here's the coupon code HEARTJuly30. I'll put that in one of my upcoming emails because I'm going to have a sale on that course at the beginning of July. So anyway, that's all of my, marketees there. But thank you for coming. And let me see, John says a very good newsletter. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I have other classes too, as well. So you can also check those out on my Laura Coyle Creative website. John also says, just saw today, Adobe is making Photoshop free as a gateway to the rest of the CC app library. Yeah, I thought, and I didn't know that, is it the full desktop version or is it just the web version? Because I did also hear that Adobe is the Photoshop web version is now in beta, and it's a free beta. Let me give you this this link. So that's the, oh wait, is that the web? Yeah, those are system requirements for the web version, but here is the FAQ about the Photoshop on the web. So, I think this is part of this whole Express thing that I'm telling you about today. You saw that you can remove a background from a photograph right there in Express. And you'll see some of the features inside of Express are powered by Photoshop. So, Photoshop it's not going to be, the web version's not going to replace the desktop version anytime soon. But Adobe is moving in that direction. There's this web version of Photoshop. Maybe there will be a web version of Illustrator at some point. Who knows? But anyway, it's exciting to see what's happening and how this is working and everything. So let me stop sharing my screen so you can actually see me. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things coming up, and I just became an Adobe community professional this year, so it's really a big part of my daily, weekly habit is to kind of check in and find out what's going on all the time with Creative Cloud, because it changes a lot. So anyway, all right. Well, we've got 10 minutes left. Unless anybody has any questions, I'll give you back your time. And you can always find this recording once I post it. It'll be on Sneak Peeks, which is my free course. And if you're signed up to my email list, you automatically have access to that. So that's where you will find the recording for this later. And that's about it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. All right. I hope everyone has a great rest of your afternoon. Okay. See ya. Let me find that button. Bye-bye.